last few days, it's not just operational failure, it is India's biggest aviation embarrassment in recent memory. IndiGo, which is India's largest airline with over 60% of the market share, has completely botched its response to the new safety norms meant to protect the pilots and the passengers alike. Flights have been cancelled, passengers have been stranded, airport is in chaos, and all because why? Because this particular airline failed to plan, it failed to hire, and it failed to take care. Now, the airline had 2 full years to prepare for the new duty regulations. But instead of investing on more pilots and more hiring of the staff, it is chasing profit. Now, crisis management mode with the government scrambling, the DGCA is summoned and the opposition slamming both the airline and the ministry. We ask if this is IndiGo's big failure or is it now too careless to fly? And where is the accountability for the thousands of stranded passengers, for the systems that have collapsed, and for the silence that is now coming in from the top brass? Let's connect with the reporters there as we are getting you pictures coming in from multiple airports. There is nothing but chaos that now could be witnessed. We are looking at protests that has been happening. We're looking at confrontations that has been happening. People are losing their minds, and for the reasons, right, because they have booked flights. They have, as far as any destination that they have to reach to, if there is an emergency situation, who will help them out in such a situation? And they have been stranded, what is being said, for days now altogether at the airport with no respite in sight. Let's get in a live update from the Kempegowda International Airport in Bengaluru, where Neha is joining us live. Neha, what is the update that now we are looking at? Are we expecting normalcy to return soon?
Well, absolutely heartbreaking scenes at the Kempegowda International Airport in Bengaluru, much like in other parts of the country, where evidently passengers are exhausted, frustrated, flustered, and at this point, many of them just hoping that they find a way to reach their destinations. Remember, the worst aspect of all of this now is the fact that there's been no kind of communication from the airline so far, and it's turned into absolute chaos and pandemonium over here. Well, this, of course, right now that we're bringing you are visuals of the departures at the Bengaluru airport. While, of course, there are quite a few queues outside the IndiGo counters itself at the departures. Right here, we're picking up now that an announcement has been made for a few flights that were scheduled for departure before 11 a.m. that they would, in fact, now, of course, be taking off, or at least the passengers. Now, there seems to be some sort of movement that's happening. We'll try and, of course, try and get in a word here from a couple of people who've, come down with the hope of being able to catch their flight. Excuse me. Hi, if I can just speak to you, we're just trying to understand, are you an IndiGo passenger? Have you faced some sort of chaos? What's happening?
I don't.
Okay. All right. Well, in fact, we'll just try and get in a word here from a couple of people. Ma'am, hi. If you could just give us 1 minute, ma'am. Okay. Well, evidently, of course, you'll be able to see now passengers over here absolutely flustered. There are attempts being made by the CISF personnel here to control the crowds, remember, because for many of these passengers, it's been a long wait. They've had no clarity from IndiGo for the past many hours, and it's finally some sort of, respite, if we could call it that, for a few of these passengers who seem to be able to get into the queues now to be able to access their respective flights. We'll try and, of course, speak to a couple of people while not further delaying them. Of course, we'll try and get in a word from a few of these passengers, at least understand what's happening. Sir, hi. If I could just speak to you for 1 minute, sir. Are you an IndiGo passenger?
Yes, IndiGo passenger.
Okay, and if you could just tell us, sir, how's the situation been? The airline claims that, they've been working on their communication efforts. They've been working on streamlining things because of what's happened yesterday and day before. How is it now, sir?
No, it was not good right now because I started from Kochi.
Yeah.
Okay, and my flight is around 1 a.m.
Okay.
And they actually boarded the flight around 7:30 morning.
Okay.
So it was around 6 to 7 hours delay. And now I'm traveling from Bangalore to Pune.
Right.
My flight is not yet confirmed.
Okay.
And they told me that you just wait up to 12 o'clock.
Okay.
If your flight will get added in that particular list, then they allow me inside.
Okay. So it's still an uncertain wait for you, sir, after having an almost 6-hour delay to your flight.
Six and a half. Reactions that have been coming in from people, and they have been recounting exactly when it comes to the mess, this big giant mess that it is now turned into, as we are looking at not one but multiple airports where the flight operations have been impacted. But the flight cancellation chaos continues as far as in other airports as well. We'll get you a live update from Chennai, which has now seen at least 48 cancellations, leaving passengers facing major travel disruptions. The authorities are advising travelers to check flight status before heading to the airport, but it seems that information is also not helping them, because till the time they actually reach the airport, Dharni, we've been getting those updates, they are still not informed. So they rather, in a way, they are trapped in the airport. Some of them even have their luggages taken in after security check, and thereafter there is nothing but endless wait.
Well, today we've got information from the Chennai airport authorities that 48 flight cancellations are going to be there. That is today, the 6th of December. This includes both arrivals and departures. And, in the last 36 hours, Chennai had almost 65 to 75 flight cancellations. And today, the number stands at 48 once again. So it looks like the situation on the ground in terms of cancellation is not seeing any change. Even yesterday, we saw large-scale protests by the passengers. Many of the passengers, they were on the way to different parts of the country and abroad for emergency reasons, for functions and for job interviews and other work-related purposes. But they were not able to board the flight because their flights were indefinitely postponed, or their flights were cancelled. So they were seen protesting with the IndiGo staff, at the Chennai airport, and it looks like on the ground the situation will remain the same today with the 48 flight cancellations, including both departures and arrivals. So at least today, let's wait and see if IndiGo staff are able to ensure the basic necessities such as food, water, and other needs are met.
Well,
because
that is another
yesterday,
requirement there, because the passengers are trapped, saying that they are provided with nothing, no information, no food, water, amenities whatsoever, no, even when it comes to as far as their stay is also concerned, they are getting nothing out of the airlines there for now. Thank you very much, Tadi. Well, that's the update coming in from the Chennai airport. It seems that the situation is no different from Pune International Airport as well. The IndiGo status of the flight operations, what we are told, that a total of 42 flights scheduled from Pune have now been cancelled. According to the airport authority, flights were supposed to operate after 4 p.m. were initially delayed, but all the IndiGo departures are now stand cancelled, and this has caused a major inconvenience to passengers as well, who will now have to look for alternative travel arrangements. So situation also looking the same as far as when it comes to all of the travel arrangements that they have had to face, because now we are looking at additional burden which has now come to other modes of transportation as well. But IndiGo, just issuing an apology, is it enough to absolve itself of the giant mess that it has now made of all these developments that are happening at the airports? As you can see, pictures of protests coming in. Rucha is also connected with us. Rucha, if you can tell us exactly what is the status there at the Pune airport, more flights now being cancelled.
A situation is a little where we are Pune International Airport.
Can't hear you there clearly, Rucha. We'll just reconnect that line with you. But situation no different there, because the airlines, which seems to have suspended all of the departures there, and this is the information coming in from most of the airports, even in Pune. What has now been said that they would require the entire day to reboot the systems and to stop the cascading delays as well. It has cancelled all of the domestic flights from Chennai airport, all flights from Bengaluru to Delhi and Mumbai for entire day that we are looking at these cancellations that have been taking place. Rucha, if you can hear me now in a better way, if you can tell us and help us understand the chaos that is now unfolding at the Pune airport. Rucha, if you can tell us what is the situation there at the Pune airport? All right, with the mass cancellations that has been taking place of flights by IndiGo and the fares of other airlines that seems to be skyrocketing, thousands of passengers that are stranded at airports across the country and are headed to nearby railway stations as well to take up other modes of transportation. But this entire big giant mess that we are speaking of, let's talk about what the government is doing over here. The Civil Aviation Ministry, at the center of the controversy, woke up to the chaos after 4 long days. Since IndiGo said that it wasn't in a position to fix things before 10th of February, the government buckled in and overturned the new pilot rules, which is essentially instituted for flight safety. They've also ordered a high-level inquiry into the mess and directed the airline and all aviation authorities to take immediate measures. The big question is the government now diluting norms in the name of flyers? Because now they see that strict action would be taken against whom?
On the airlines part, we have observed this miscalculation from the IndiGo part, and we have ordered a strict inquiry into it. The inquiry is going to start, and as we find the details of the inquiry, we are going to take strict action.
Well, we are going to take strict action. That is the minister's response coming in, but the government is not alone in this. As far as the CEO is now concerned of IndiGo Airlines, took 4 days to respond after thousands of flight cancellations, finally came up to speak and just to say sorry. And even then, he calls the operational disruptions. The airline had 2 years to meet with the global standards, to stick to the new flight duty norms, and that to ensure that the pilots and the crew were properly rested when they fly the aircraft with thousands of passengers. Who's now putting the passenger safety at risk?
Earlier measures of the last few days regrettably have proven not to be enough. So we've decided today for a reboot of all our systems and schedules, resulting in the highest number of cancellations so far.
So the passengers who are facing the brunt are reeling under uncertainty, last-minute cancellations, unending delays and high airfares, and a complete breakdown of communication. That seems to be the problem that is now mounting at not one but multiple airports across the country.
डैड की अस्थियां है मेरे साथ और मुझे यहाँ बेंगलोर से सबसे पहले दिल्ली जाना है, दिल्ली से फ्लाइट लेना है देहरादून से हम लोग हरिद्वार जाएंगे, विसर्जन करना है कल, बट इन्होंने सडनली फ्लाइट कैंसिल कर दिया. हमारे पास प्रायर नोटिफिकेशन कुछ भी नहीं भेजा.
Our sincerest apologies.
My husband passed away and I have come here to transport the coffin, the casket, all the way to Kolkata to be buried. We booked an IndiGo flight. This is at 7:10, and till now we have no information whether the flight is going to take off or not. Who's going to take responsibility for it?
Our sincerest apologies. Our sincerest apologies.
इंडिगो वाले हमारा जो लगेज था, मैं बॉम्बे की हूँ, मेरी कल दिल्ली की फ्लाइट थी, ये लगेज नहीं देने के लिए रेडी नहीं, इनको कुछ पता ही नहीं हमारा लगेज कहाँ पर है.
Our sincerest apologies.
टिकट कैंसिल किया, आप रहने को दो, खाने को दो, सोने को दो, और मुझे कोई भी हालत में आज आपकी फ्लाइट चाहिए.